Have you ever looked at a group, a community, a company, even a family, and wondered why people stay, even when it seems like they don't quite believe in it anymore? Well, today, we're going to dive into the powerful, often invisible, social forces that hold us together and explore the very real price of belonging. Let's jump right in.
So yeah, this is the big question, right? From the outside, it can be really baffling. You might think, is it hypocrisy? Or maybe a lack of courage? But the answer, as it turns out, is way more complex. It's rooted deep in our psychology, and it has less to do with what someone thinks in their head and everything to do with who they are inside their community.
And it all kind of boils down to this one powerful idea. Human beings do not believe in isolation. Our beliefs aren't just these private little ideas we cook up all by ourselves in a vacuum. Nope, they're shaped, they're reinforced, and they're made real by the people around us, in our social worlds. And that's the foundation for everything we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics. This need we all have to belong, it's not just a nice-to-have feeling. It is one of the most fundamental, hardwired drivers of human behavior. You could say it's baked right into our DNA, and it all comes down to survival.
I mean, think about it. From the second we're born, being part of a group is everything. It's where we get safety, food, our very sense of who we are. For our ancient ancestors, getting kicked out of the tribe wasn't just embarrassing, it was a death sentence. And that deep, primal fear of being excluded, it's still rattling around in our brains today. It makes us conform, often in ways we don't even realize.
So, you have this incredibly powerful, primal need. How do groups tap into that? Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. Some groups, and religious ones, are especially good at this. They have a way of weaving a person's beliefs so tightly into their identity that the two become one. It's a powerful fusion we really need to understand.
And that brings us to this key psychological concept, identity fusion. It's basically when the line between me and the group gets super blurry until it pretty much disappears. You know, like a diehard sports fan who feels a team's loss like a personal defeat. That's a little taste of it. When the group gets criticized, it feels like someone is attacking you personally.
Let's break this down a bit. A personal belief can be this private, flexible thing, right? You can question it and wrestle with it in your own head, no big deal. But the moment that belief becomes part of your public group identity, whoa, it's a game changer. It's not just a thought anymore. It's a public commitment. It's a badge of loyalty that shows you belong to the tribe.
And here's where it gets really intense. Once that fusion happens, disagreeing with the group's belief feels like you're disagreeing with your own self. Questioning the group is like a form of self-alienation, like you're tearing your own identity apart. And that is a deeply uncomfortable and frankly terrifying place to be.
Okay, so this fusion of identity and belief, it leads to some pretty major consequences. This is where we get to the really high cost of dissent. See, when your entire sense of self is wrapped up in the group, stepping out of line is not just some intellectual disagreement. It is a huge personal and social risk.
And what makes these costs so powerful is that a lot of the time, they're invisible. It's not about being openly punished. It's the chill in a conversation. It's the look that says you're not quite trusted anymore. It's the growing distance from people you love. You start to feel like an outsider, like there's something wrong with you. And our brains will do almost anything to avoid that feeling.
This chart just illustrates the dynamic perfectly. Imagine your personal doubt is this little nagging voice. Maybe it's at a 25 out of 100. But that fear of social rejection, of losing everything, that's a screaming 5-alarm fire bell at a level 90. Which one are you going to listen to? The source material is crystal clear. Just the thought of being pushed out is usually enough to silence any doubt.
So if the cost of speaking up is so incredibly high, how do groups keep everyone in line? Well, it's not just about fear. It's actually much cleverer than that. It's done through this brilliant psychological reframing where obedience stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a virtue.
And look, this doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual process, a slow burn. It starts with small commitments, like showing up to things, participating in rituals. Over time, those actions build on each other. Expectations are set, and pretty soon, just going along with the group feels like the most natural, right thing to do. In fact, resisting starts to feel awkward and just wrong.
This table basically shows you the psychological sleight of hand at work. You're not submitting, you're showing trust in authority. You're not making a sacrifice, you're proving the sincerity of your belief. And just complying gets reframed as showing your commitment to everyone. This is how that external pressure gets transformed into a really powerful internal motivation. It's brilliant, really.
So when you put all of these pieces together, that primal need to belong, the identity fusion, the reframing of obedience, they don't just exist side by side. No, they lock into place and create this incredibly resilient, self-reinforcing system. It's like a loop.
And here's how that feedback loop works. You perform a public action, right? You go to the ritual, you say the declaration. That act then reinforces your own private belief. Your brain sees you doing it and thinks, hey, I must really believe this stuff. That shared experience makes you feel closer to the group, which, guess what, encourages you to do more public actions. And the loop starts all over again, getting stronger every single time.
So, let's circle all the way back to our original question. Why do people stay? Well, now we can see it's because leaving is not just an intellectual decision. It demands a massive amount of social courage. You have to break all these powerful bonds, basically renegotiate your entire identity, and face that crushing cost of exclusion. And for so many people, that price just feels way too high to pay.
And all this leaves us with one final, pretty profound question from our source material to think about. If these incredibly powerful social systems are built around a central guiding authority, what happens to the group, to the belief, and to every person in it when that authority just falls silent? That's definitely something to chew on.